I think Carlo is an excellent musician. I think he hasn't really gotten his due. He's one of the great unknowns. He plays very well with very much emotion, which is very hard to find in any musician these days. The emphasis these days seems to be more on technique, and Carlo plays from the heart, I think.
What makes Carlo stand out is the fact that he is so thoroughly invested in the music, as opposed to being, well, will this seem flashy, or will people really think I have great technical abilities if I play this? I don't think his attention is there at all. I think his attention is absolutely on, is this a music that is speaking something true about the human heart?
There is some incredible beauty and depth to something that is truly artistic, and I feel that humans deny themselves a very important aspect of life. In other words, if you walk around this planet for 60 or 70 years and you have never experienced a symphony by Mahler or you know, hearing Segovia play, it's almost as if, well, why were you here in the first place?
Carlo is as good as any of the big names out there, Julian Breen, Chris Parkman. I just don't think he's gotten the breaks. It takes an awful lot of publicity. You know, it's not just being a great player that's going to make you famous.
On this special premiere edition of Texas Woman's University Up Close, we profile the career of classical guitar performer and teacher Carlo Pezzimenti. Beginning his formal study of the guitar at age 13 in Italy, Carlo received a degree from the Music Conservatory of Perugia. While living in Europe, Pezzimenti regularly attended a world-famous summer music school in Santiago de Compostela, Spain. The instructor, guitar legend Andres Segovia.
Segovia spoke of people who we read about in books that he knew: George Bernard Shaw, De Falla, Ravel, Anatole France, D'Annunzio. I mean, poets and musicians, and that to us are just people that are in textbooks and history books. And he knew them, and he spoke of them, and it was fabulous to just sit and listen to this. Now, in terms of his artistic ability, well, he was to me, the most inspiring person I had ever been around, period. The most inspiring. And I guess the important thing about Segovia was that, first of all, his joy and his love for making music was always apparent. And he worked hard, and he believed in hard work and the importance of doing things correctly. But yet, he just had this sort of overwhelming joy of making music. And I think that is something that I just don't see very often in anybody.
The opportunity of studying with Carlo, who studied with Segovia, is, well, it's wonderful. It's a chance in a million. Unfortunately, I never got to study with Segovia, and this way I get to hear pretty much what Segovia had to say. And I think Carlo not only was just a student of Segovia's, but a friend also. And he's got a lot of anecdotes to tell about him, which makes Segovia seem more personal and the guitar seem more personal, not just a wooden instrument.
Following several years of intense study with Segovia, Carlo began a formal concert career at the age of 23. 7 years later, Pezzimenti was a featured performer at Carnegie Hall.
You know, it's something that you think about for many years, and you feel, well, someday I should play there, or someday hopefully somebody will ask me to play there. And finally it happened. I mean, I waited until I was 30 years old. I didn't play there, you know, when I was 20. And because Carnegie Hall can be a very wonderful experience if you approach it the right way, but on the other hand, it can be pretty terrible. It might even ruin your career. And as a matter of fact, I remember when I was reviewed, because they reviewed 2 or 3 people who do debuts at Carnegie Hall, they reviewed a soprano, and they told her she should find a new teacher. And I thought, oh my goodness, if that had happened to me. But anyway, it was, first of all, the acoustics were wonderful. And I really enjoyed it.
Performing. I would like to perform a lot more, get my name known also.
I think it's a wonderful experience, especially to see them, you know, get up, hopefully not just mimicking what I tell them, but being able to apply maybe some of the ideas I give them into their own personalities. Because it's not so much, well, you know, you have to play a certain way, or you have to interpret something the way I would interpret it, but more than that, being able to express something of their own through the help that I've given them. I mean, I certainly hope I can continue doing that. I am first a guitarist, a performing artist. This is what I feel about what I do. I want to communicate my art through performance. Now, I communicate my art through teaching also, so that's why I say the two do go together, but if I had the choice, I think that I would, I mean, I know I would perform rather than teach. Somebody said to me, well, you can do one or the other. But I do enjoy teaching, especially with good students. They keep you on your toes. I'm not the kind of person who can practice 10 hours a day. You know, I can practice 4 or 5 hours a day as long as the practice is well concentrated. But I feel that it's important for me to be able to communicate this to other people who are really interested. So I think I would always teach.
In this rare black and white footage of a 1966 masterclass in Spain, Segovia works with student Aldo Minella on a concerto to be performed with full orchestra, an area in which Segovia was unequaled. 22 years later, with Segovia now gone, Pezzimenti laments performances featuring the classical guitar with orchestra are now all but extinct.
First of all, most of the even classical listening world, they are not aware of the repertoire that has been written for the guitar and orchestra. Wonderful composers such as Ponce, Castelnuovo Tedesco, Villa-Lobos have written guitar concertos. Well, they're first of all not aware of it. Secondly, conductors relegate the guitar to a more folkloristic or pop instrument. And the only time usually you'll see a guitar concerto being done is in a pops concert, like when the symphony does their summer concerts. It baffles me, you know, and there's another reason, which is the conductors are afraid to work with a guitarist because the orchestra has to be incredibly sensitive. I mean, it's very easy to drown the guitar out, you know. So yes, there is amplification nowadays, but then you run into other problems. Okay, that's another reason. And the other reason is because, quite frankly, there just aren't, I feel, that many really great guitarists around to really be able to play some of these pieces and do justice to them. So it's an amalgamation of things that unfortunately causes that part of the repertoire to lie dormant. And that some of that repertoire is just marvelous.
I think the guitar is such a soft instrument that the orchestra tends to drown it out a lot. I think it sounds very good with an orchestra because it's different from any instrument in the orchestra. So you have that contrast. I don't think the conductors like to play pieces with guitar.
That would hurt. It would hurt that. But it's really
For the last 10 years, Pezzimenti has performed not only as a solo guitarist, but also in a somewhat unique duo, blending his talents with those of Dallas poet Tim Sables. Here, classical guitar standards merge with original modern verse. During this rehearsal, there was little discussion of stringent musical technique. Consistently, priority was placed on emotion, feelings, artistry.
Go ahead. Sometimes I turn to the past as if it is a safe place to go. The future turning on me and charging like some mindless bull. Looking back, I feel certain, though I can't remember all the details. I know I've made it this far. Never fought in a war or really hurt anybody. When I laugh, it still means I'm happy. Like right now, I'm smiling and looking back at friends who always smile. They are safe in my yearbook. somewhere out there, the great black bull of the future is grazing, maybe alone atop a tall green hill. It is strange that I can never really know my name as someone else intends it, or my touch as another might feel it, that my death is too big a thought for this tired brain. But the bull is grazing and does not care. His horns are long and sharp, and he will grow restless.
Somebody is created, it's an image. It doesn't have anything to do with art, as far as I'm concerned. Now, luckily, as a matter of fact, Segovia, I think if Segovia had been my age, the same person, and trying to crack through that glitter today, I don't think he would have, I honestly don't think, as great as an artist as he was, today what is fashionable is something much more aggressive, much more technically oriented, not poetry and beauty. That's not what is fashionable now. Now, things may turn around because you know how trendy we are, how fickle we are, but I can't be concerned with that. I just have to take my art and hopefully delve into it as much as I can, and if the world then feels that I'm the one to, fine. If they don't, fine. Well, what's next? The thing that I, and through all the years, the main thing that I have done is just try to, I guess the word would be improve, to deepen my art, to make it more profound. I mean, my main objective is, of course, I love to play, and I will do anything to play for a listening audience. And there are certain things that we have to do to acquire that. You know, the business world and being aggressive, and they call it assertive and so on and so forth, which I don't like. But to me, I think the most important aspect of this is just to learn more, to learn as much as I possibly can, not just in terms of playing the guitar, in terms of, I mean, do you realize we sit here and there are, you know, this whole human body, there's so little that we know about it. You know, it's an amazing thing when I think the amount of knowledge that exists that we don't know. And right now, for example, I've been reading about genetics, just because it's interesting, not that I'm going to become, in my profession as a musician, and that's that, but it's just amazing to read about DNA, to read about what we're made of. And, you know, 99% of the human populace will walk around never knowing the first thing about what we are. I mean, we're even beginning to not teach history in school. I mean, this is what, in other words, this is what we are as human beings. If we don't know anything about the past, what do we know about what we are? And so anyway, basically, to get back to your question, is I just feel that there's much more for me to learn, and hopefully, you know, I'll be on this planet for a few more years to be able to do that.